Morning.
How's everything, man?
It's going very well.
Getting ready for some youth soccer picture day?
I am. My 6-year-old has a game this morning.
Awesome. My brother used to call that bumblebee soccer.
Pretty much. Big swarms everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the Falcons. I know you guys were fairly young the last couple of years and kind of building towards something good, and have gotten off to a great start, won your first 4 games. You're probably not too surprised at how well you've gotten off to a good start this year, right?
I'm a little surprised because we're still young. I start 2 freshmen and 4 sophomores, so we have a lot of growing to do, but they're buying in, and they're working hard each game, and the success is coming.
I guess the thing that really stood out to me, I was looking at some of the scores for the first couple of games, and obviously you guys are scoring goals, 15 goals in the first 4 games, I think it was, but only 1 goal allowed before yesterday, and a lot of that has to do with Jack Markley. Tell me about him. He's a 2-sport guy and a really a goalie that's been around for a couple of years and has really, I think, gotten overlooked a little bit in the Cape Atlantic League.
I completely agree. He's been underrated the past couple of years, but he's been a rock back there. He has come up with some tremendous saves. He's kept shutouts on the board, and he is just very dependable back there. Center zone shots, breaking up crosses. He's just very athletic, doing the right things, and just really a solid player.
Now, Coach, we actually have a cover story this week's edition of Glory Days Magazine on the mainland keepers, Stella Tano and Angelina Blanchette. They've got some great goalies for the last couple of years. What's it like when you guys play mainland and you got Markley on one side and Stella Tano on the other? You know it might be a 0-0 tie going into overtime.
Well, unfortunately, we're not playing mainland this year.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
With the conference realignment, they're up a conference, we're down a conference, and the schedule just didn't work. But that would have been a fantastic defensive battle.
So what's really been the key to the hot start so far?
Just they're always grinding. Not only do we have Jack back there, but my center defender is Connor Owens, very experienced player. He locks it down on defense, and then we have Gabe and Mason up top scoring goals. It's just good. As coaches, we just need to keep it consistent. You know, young teams, sometimes they get up, sometimes they get down. We just have to make sure that they grow and mature throughout the season and get ready for the Group 2 playoffs.
Now, Coach, looking at these standings in the Cape Atlantic National, you definitely got your hands full here the next 4 or 5 weeks when you're talking about teams like Absegami, Ocean City, even Middle Township, pretty good squad. So what do you think is going to be the key to this division and how it shakes out? Ocean City, obviously, one of those teams that's always at or near the top and one of those strong playoff contenders, and Absegami's always got a bunch of great athletes. So it's going to be a dogfight here going through the season, regular season, the next, say, 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that makes it exciting. The conference, everybody's even. There are no down games. There are no games off. We're all coming at each other. It's good soccer. It's controlled, and, you know, it's just a really good conference. I think all of us are going to go far in the playoffs. It's competitive. Everybody's doing the right thing, and it's really exciting to watch in the sidelines.
What about the confidence level of this team, Coach? Obviously, you guys had some decent years the last couple of years, but now it seems like you guys are really ready to make some noise in the Cape Atlantic League and maybe the state playoffs as well. What's the confidence level of this group of boys right now?
Really high, especially defensively. Like you said, we almost went 4 games without giving up a goal, and we just know we can depend on our defense if things aren't working in the midfield, if they're not working up top, to keep us in games, to keep us competitive, and there's always a shot at winning. So the conference, I like our outlook. The kids are playing well. They're keeping level heads, and if we can keep maturing, keep doing the right things, we have a shot at this conference.
Coach, what about playing a team like Ocean City? Obviously, they're the type of team that can maybe intimidate you a little bit because of their recent history and how well they've done. They're a team that's generally one of the contenders for South Jersey Group 3 championship, and you guys went over there and beat them early in the season. How big a win was that for you guys?
Oh, that was huge, and I think that's where our youth actually helped us. It was an advantage because our kids don't know any better. They don't know that Ocean City is a perennial powerhouse and we should be intimidated. So they just walked on the field, did their things. Mason came up with a huge goal off his left foot early in the game. Gabe put it away in the second half with a scrappy goal off of a corner. Again, I think the youth helped us against Ocean City because we weren't really intimidated walking onto the field. But I'll tell you, Ocean City is a really strong team. Very organized. When they attack in lanes. They're fun to watch, too.
Coach, we're talking with Coach Joseph Seaman from Oakcrest High School Boys Soccer. And Coach, looking at the standings here, I know we're only about 2 weeks in, but you look at these Cape Atlantic League standings and some unfamiliar teams up at the top of some of these divisions. Some of the powerhouses are kind of scuffling a little bit, like Egg Harbor Township and Millville. When you look at the American Conference, you got teams like ACIT and Atlantic City right up there with undefeated records. Obviously, Mainland's going to be a factor in that as well. Are you surprised that some of these teams kind of making a little bit of noise this year?
Not really. I know the coach in Atlantic City, he's doing the right things. When they were in our conference, they were always tough. So he's a really good coach. They're coached well. They come out and attack. They're very good athletes, especially up top. ACIT, they have the Beasley brothers, very talented soccer players in the midfield. I'm not surprised that ACIT is turning the corner and competing up there. Very good programs.
And even in the United, I mean, Buna's off to a 3-0 start. You got Pleasantville, always a pretty tough out, and teams like Wildwood Catholic in there as well. So, going through this, navigating this Cape Atlantic League is not an easy thing when you're a boys soccer coach, right?
Oh, not at all. And all three of those teams are on our schedule, so we'll get a first-hand look at how talented they are. And I'm really just happy for the whole conference. I think this is a year where many teams can go deep in the playoffs and maybe come away with some state titles, or South Jersey titles, rather.
Now, Coach, when you start out with this kind of record here early in the season, I know it's only 2 weeks in, but is there a little bit of a buzz around school with this boys soccer team? I know, normally this time of year it's football, everything's football related, but when you do have a get off to a great start, what does that do for the kids just on a daily basis throughout school? They're kind of walking around with their head held up high and can't wait for practice and games. Got to be a nice little energy around the team.
Oh, absolutely. And the faculty's on board and completely supportive. The student body really giving us support. We're getting crowds at our games. You're absolutely right. In the hallways, you can see teammates clapping each other up. It's a really fun atmosphere for our kids.
Now, what do you tell your team at this point, Coach? Obviously, you're coming up with some tough games here in the next couple of weeks as you really start grinding into the conference schedule. How do you navigate this part of the schedule where it's going to be a daily grind and there's going to be ups and downs? You're going to start getting some tired legs here in the middle of October, and there's a certain ebb and flow to the season where you have to step off the gas pedal one day in practice and kind of let the legs replenish themselves. So how do you sort of plan out the next couple of weeks?
You're right. We do give them some time off when it's available. I've been coaching 10 years. And I've had teams burn out. So we would make the state playoffs and we'd have nothing left. So I've learned over the years. We also, as a coaching staff, do a lot of prep work. We're scouting teams. We have Middle Township on Monday. We have a scouting report on them. We had a scouting report on Ocean City and Absegami. We go over film so that they're still learning, but they're not running around in a grueling practice. We're showing them tendencies on the screen. We're showing them where the openings are. So we may not be on the field, but we're definitely still teaching and trying to get the team into a better spot.
That's an interesting point, Coach, because I know football is so much film work, obviously, but you don't really think about that in soccer. But it kind of makes sense in this day and age when everybody has access to their phones and tablets and that kind of thing. And when you take these game films, do these kids have access to it when they're maybe sitting at home at night?
Yeah, absolutely. We use the program Huddle, which I believe all the football teams use.
Uh-huh.
So I just upload the film, and they can go on and watch any game. What I'll do is I'll point out specific sections and maybe send an email kid to watch, minute 25 to 27, check out what you did, check out what was open. So each individual kid can see things that they need to improve on. Or I even tell them, look at this play. This is what we want you to do when they do something right. So film is very, because film doesn't lie. As my assistant coach, Kevin Costello, said, film doesn't lie. So we can point out the mistakes. We can point out what's good. And everybody just keeps learning because we are young and we're just trying to get more consistency and smarter players.
Now, Coach, what's the reaction of the players when they see the film? Are they like, wow, I didn't realize I was 10 yards out of position right there?
It is, and I really have to, keep the film room focused because they're high school kids and sometimes they want to get on each other or sometimes they want to see a play that they did well over and over again.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see the bad plays.
No. And we as a coaching staff, we have to make sure that we don't point out one individual too often because we don't want it to seem like a bad game was one person's fault. We win as a team, we lose as a team. So film's been a learning experience for the coaches, but I think it's improved our program immensely.
I guess you didn't think 10 years ago you'd be sitting around a film room watching soccer tape, right?
No, I didn't. We're at home with the kids jumping on me.
Good stuff, Coach. We'll let you go. I know you got a busy morning, but thanks for taking a few minutes, and good luck the rest of the way. We'll see you out there soon.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great weekend, buddy.
Okay. Bye-bye.
That's Coach Joe Seaman from Oakcrest Boys Soccer. They're off to a great start.